You're watching and listening to the latest Red and Blue review show. For all your Crystal Palace related chat, please like and subscribe across all the usual social media platforms, especially our YouTube channel. This really helps us out. Now, let's get on with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome and a good evening to you wherever you are watching in the world. If you're watching down in New Zealand, Mr. Noble, a very good morning to you too, my friend. Thank you for joining me here on the Red and Blue Review. My name is Nick Philpott. I'm soon going to be joined by the panel. But before I do, we will be helping you through your misery, helping you through your depression. We're going to try and do a cathartic show for you. Okay, we're going to put our collective arms around you and give you a big hug, because I think you all need it. Unless, of course, you are a Macclesfield supporter watching us online this evening. And if you are, massive congratulations. You deserve every bit of the plaudits you've received over the last 24 hours. Anyway, let's kick off. Wingman, Holyoke, you're back again. You're like a bloody London bus. You don't turn up for weeks and then all of a sudden you turn up twice in 2 weeks.
Bore off.
In actual fact, you look like a London bus, is what I meant.
Oh, referee. Yeah, no, I just thought I'd come on and try and not bottle it like I'm just going to tell it as it is. So we can't have no pussyfooting around tonight. I think people will see that. But yeah, no, pleased to be here. I think I'm going to be here for the considerable, the next few weeks at least, I think. Mr. Noble's away and you're going to have an enforced break. So, yeah, get used to it, people.
You can just hear the party poppers going all over Surrey at the moment, can't you? Yasmin Broom, well done for your long journey again yesterday.
Thank you.
How was it for you? Apart from the obvious, how was your day?
Well, until the match started, the day was good. We got a delay going there, but we got there. We were being treated like royalty, and then it all went downhill from there, as everyone knows.
Indeed. Who's got their phone switched on? Whoever's got their phone on, turn it off as I shut.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's much better seeing Yasmin in the daylight, isn't it? Last week, for those of you who weren't watching us last week, Yas did half the show in the dark. She got to put 10p in the meter. Paul Gear, how was your day, mate? I know you and I spoke to each other a couple of times today. Are you sort of chilled out a little bit now?
Yeah, as time passes, time's a great healer, isn't it? So yeah, I was still very peed off about a number of things and aspects of yesterday, and yeah, it's normally good being on a show like this when Palace have broken loads of records, but maybe not this one.
Indeed, and if there is anybody from Macclesfield watching, enjoy every second of this because you deserve it. If there's anybody from Crystal Palace watching at the moment, you're going to get it as well. Okay, I can assure you this will not be pussyfooting around. So sit back, enjoy it. And what actually made me laugh yesterday afternoon, folks, you two guys won't know what I'm about to say, but Yas will, okay? I actually text Yas in the week because she normally gets second fiddle on which games she gets to review. And I thought, you know what? Where's the fairness in that? So I actually text Yas in, I don't know, what day was it? Wednesday or Thursday this week? I think it was something like that. And said, Yas, honey, what game would you like to review? And she said, Macclesfield, please. Don't.
What an idiot I am.
What a plonker. Right, so with that in mind, listen, it's not all going to be negative and doom and gloom. We're still unbeaten against Aston Villa, people. They can't beat us. They hate us, okay? Macclesfield obviously love us, but Villa, they can't bear us. There's nothing they can do. They are riding hard in the Premier League, umpteen games unbeaten. We have Palace or umpteen games without a win, and they still couldn't beat us. Macclesfield can beat us, but Villa can't. Paul Gear, you're going to cover the Villa game, I understand.
Yeah, we're going to roll for it fairly quickly because we've obviously got bigger things to talk about.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I meant to do that at the top of the show. I do apologise, Paul, for interrupting you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening to us back on the podcast, also subscribe to our Instagram channel, please. It's red_and_blue_review. Follow Tom Clark Samuel on there. He does massive work for us, tireless work on there, sometimes too much work on there, as he knows. Okay, but please follow us on our Instagram. Paul, I apologise, mate.
All right, mate. No, so we'll just roll through this one nice and quick. So, yeah, obviously 2 changes in the team from the game at Newcastle. JD Canvo came in for Jefferson Lerma, who was subbed off with a concussion the other day, so he can't play for 7 days, which is why he's not been available the last 2 games. And Justin Delaney came in for Nathaniel Klein. So Klein has obviously pulled a muscle in the cold at Newcastle, like most of us did doing those stairs, but it's another story. But yeah, game kicked off. No real chances for either side. Villa had a bit of one of their first 2 VAR penalty shouts for handball. When it hit, the ball bounced up, hit Mitchell. Luckily, the VAR waved it away, which is probably fair enough because it would have been a very harsh penalty. But the first real chance of the half came for Palace, and Adam Walton started playing it out from the back. He played a 1-2 with Mitchell and then a 1-2 with Mateta. And then he slid a through ball to Johnson to run onto on the left-hand channel. And he's driven into the box, and he's gone for power, hit it with his left foot, and Martinez made a good save, tipped it over. So, yeah, first real chance to Palace, and he looked lively, Johnson. Obviously, it was his first home game, second game for us, and we've obviously got a lot of expectation in being our record signing that we've bought in early in the window, which obviously we'll come back to. But yeah, we've got some pace up front now, which is good, and Adam found him. Villa then had their first real chance of the half when Tielemans slipped through Watkins on the edge of the box, and he's gone towards goal, but Dino's come out and smothered the ball, so that went out for a corner as well. So it was a pretty even half, to be honest. Villa then had another check where shot from outside the box, but I think Matty Cash again hits Mitchell's arm. This one was a bit closer. We've seen them given. It would have been harsh, but they have been given. In fact, I think Newcastle got a very similar one in the same night. So maybe a little bit fortunate there. But yeah, half time 0-0, nothing really there. Pretty even. Second half comes out, and Villa have a new goalkeeper again. It's the second year running. I think we must put something in Emilio Martinez's water at Selhurst Park when he comes down here, and he never comes out for a second half. But yeah, his replacement Bizzo made the first save of the half. Palace were on the attack quite well. Pino has a good shot towards the far corner, and he parries it out, and Devaney gets the rebound, and between keeper and left back Dinya, they managed to keep that out as well. And then Walton had another shot which got booted out as well. So we started the half on the front foot, which was good. Again, we have another threatening attack straight after. Gay brings the ball out of defence, and he spreads it out to Johnson again on the right. He crosses it in. Keeper doesn't really collect it, and there's a big scramble in the box. Turns out Gay is about to try and get on it, and it looked like he was brought down, but when you watch it back, the defender, he did clear it, got the ball first. So again, no real penalty there. Johnson again flashes a ball across the box, and Mateta stretching at the far post couldn't quite reach it. So yeah, we were the pressing team at that point. Villa then, obviously, at that point when that happens, get the other end. Cash swings across in, and Watkins hits it back across goal, hits the post, and we managed to clear it. But yeah, that's really all that happened in the match. To be honest, it was at 0-0. It was a good point, probably a fair result. Although if anyone deserved to edge it, I think probably Palace did. And I think before the game, I certainly would have taken a point looking at our team and looking at, as we said, their team. They've won 11 out of 12 games, and as I say, we obviously have the hoodoo over them. The amount of social media with their fans saying we're going to get stuffed again, and our fans saying, actually, you've seen our lineup, it's not going to happen again. So 0-0, probably about right. And yeah, given the results we've had recently, probably a good point in the end, and a good preparation for our first cup match of the season in the FA Cup.
Indeed. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. You can see you saw the stats on the screen there. We're not going to labour on. Paul Grant, you just said something in the chat. Don't labour on the 2 games. We don't intend to, because we've got bigger fish to fry. You are quite correct. Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to talk to you. I wanted to touch on Canvo's performance at the Villa game. I thought he had probably his best game for us. And if you look at those, for the benefit of those listening back on the podcast, we're showing a slide on the screen for Canvo's performance against Villa. 12 defensive contributions, 3 clearances, 3 tackles, 6 clearances, 1 block, 4 recoveries, 100% duels won, 81% pass accuracy, and he's just a 19-year-old. So he is definitely, thank you, Nigel, he definitely is one for the future. We're going to go straight on into the Macclesfield game in a second. If you are watching from as a supporter of Macclesfield, and you are watching us on YouTube, please put your name and highlight yourself in our YouTube chat, and Nigel will put you on screen because we want to give you a name check, which is what Gel's about to do for all the other guys that are out there. And as Yaz is going to be reviewing the Macclesfield game in a second, if you've got any questions for the panel this evening, don't forget this is going to be a bit of a more cathartic show. I've got no notes written down here. We're just going to answer your questions, talk about things that are concerning us. Come to Dr. Nick, okay?
Get off. Right, listen, this is the collective hug from us to you. John Roberts, Joan Wells, QS Digital, William Jones, Tom Samuel, Dawn Palace, Plas 60s, Mark Callahan, Paul Bristow. He says he's from Plymouth. I think we really do know that by now, Paul. John Paul Grant, Tony P. Quinn, Ian James Appley, Charlie Byrne. Where are we going? John Lyons, Damon.
Johnny.
Renshaw Barker, DC Campion, Keith Barker, and just Ian Donald, Lee Clark. Just say what you think, as long as it's not full of swear words. We're gonna put
say that. Jel will do that later on.
We will. I will. As long as it's not too abusive. Believe me, we want to get. I'm not saying we want to get abusive. I certainly did yesterday. I was fuming about this, but listen, just say what you think. Say what you saw, and just tell us what you think. This is just literally about us trying to get over, a shock. And I know there was a little comment just put up there. I can't remember who it was. Nick, you'll find it again. You're putting stuff up or whatever. And someone just said that, was it really a shock yesterday? Yeah, it really, really was a shock. But anyway, yes, tell us all about it.
But absolutely, yes, before you do. But I think we've all experienced a certain amount of, I'll do the swear words if you like, piss taking on all our WhatsApp groups, all our Facebook groups and Messenger and on Twitter. But however bad that result was, ladies and gentlemen, we could all be Nottingham Forest fans. Then they went out. Yes, over to you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so everyone, I'm not going to go into it in great depth. One thing I wanted to say was that, I'll do this first then. Okay, so we made quite a few changes and we brought in 2 of the youngsters, which, to be honest, I was glad to see, hoping that it would be fine. I think even on the train, we discussed the team and thought that the youngsters should be able to perform well in this game. So I don't think any of us were really shocked by the lineup. We obviously expected Dino to come out for Benitez. So we also I just wanted to say, when we arrived in Macclesfield, we've never been greeted so well by the police. Our train driver was waving us off because we'd spoken to him at Euston. When we arrived, the person on the tannoy was saying what a classy club Crystal Palace were for giving them all the ticket receipts, and how well we'd done in the FA Cup, and that they were all supporting us as neutrals and things like that. So we were really feeling, this is really good. We like this. We could come here again. And then someone came round and gave us the old school team sheets as well, which I haven't had for a very long time. So I thought, I'll have one of those. They had put up their price of their programs because I assume they don't charge £5 for a normal game, but we were happy to pay it. We bought tickets for the halftime thing and all of that. So I think, there was a good atmosphere prior to the game. And really, I don't think we ever really came out the box in this game. I am giving full credit to Macclesfield for how they played, how they came at us, how they didn't let anything go.
Absolutely.
And really, it's down to our players and maybe their attitude. I don't know what was wrong with them yesterday. But the Macclesfield team just kept on going, even when we eventually got a goal. So basically, in the first half, one of the major things that was annoying us at first and second half was the amount of offsides we had. At one point, Devaney was offside, and quite badly. A professional such as he is shouldn't have made that mistake. And Glasner rightly had a go at him, and he started having to go back. And it was kind of like that was the kind of atmosphere for the game. We didn't, no one was taking accountability. And then obviously their player Dawson, who had his head bandaged, he scored a header for the goal from a set piece. And really, we've got to sort it out. Even Macclesfield are working us out on this, and we need to sort it out. So yeah, that was pretty much a shock for us all, but you still kind of thought, right, okay, we're going to come out and, up our game or whatever. So at half time, the two youngsters, Drakes Thomas and Rodney, were subbed off, along with Camvo. And we got Will Hughes, Brennan Johnson, and Tyrick Mitchell. And I don't think anything really changed. I mean, I saw Hughesy at one point shouting at Tyrick Mitchell about, it's a basic mistake and all of this. But then he made I think they all made basic mistakes in that game. And then there was the second goal for Macclesfield was an absolute disgrace on our behalf. I mean, the scramble that there was, and then I think the keeper could have done better as well with the goal. And I kind of thought, I was already thinking it just from how we're not going to come back. I can't see us scoring if we're still here next week,
Yes, you just said the keeper could have done better. His weight was on the other foot. Really? Did you not think that was a little bit harsh? Anybody else? Really. Could anybody else think that he could have done better with that?
No.
Go on, Paul.
No, I think he was wrong-footed completely when it happened, and you weren't expecting what he did. I mean, he did this weird reverse back heel volley. I mean, he wouldn't have expected him to do that. And
Eze did something similar, but up in the air.
Yeah, against Brentford. Yeah, but it was defending. I mean, we had 6-7 chances to clear that ball, and we didn't. And even Oliver said it was slapstick, and it was. I mean, it was just not. It was Tier 6 defending, not Premier League defending, and you're going to let in goals all day when you defend like that.
Jel?
Just want to go into the chat. Obviously, there's people that are saying, "Oh, I don't want this to turn into a moaning thing." This is our show, and we're covering the game. So, but the comment so far for me from Graham O'Neill, and he says the BBC, because they always show the FA Cup, the BBC will no longer show Hereford knocking out Newcastle, but Macclesfield beating us. That'll be the goal. It has to be the goal. Just go into a stat, no, because I haven't heard any of you mention it, and I don't know if you heard it on the TV, but there you go. That the last time a team knocked out the FA Cup holders in the third round,
it was us,
a non-league team.
We done it. Was it to Wolves?
Yeah.
So we now hold both ends of that record. Yeah. I mean, that's a bookend and a half, isn't it? I'm not going to say I'm amazed, but this is, there's a saying now which everyone's using about Spursy. It's so Spursy. I can't even say this is so Palacey, but it really is. I don't know. Mega Microman is saying, did they shorten the pitch so we couldn't take long throw-ins? What we'll do is, so Paul will take over from there.
Paul. Just on that question, I mean, it basically, as we said, Macclesfield are going to cash in as much as they could yesterday, and fair play to them. You should. They've got a Premier League team down there for the first time in years. They got the FA Cup hold as well, and obviously they were on TV. So I think the big problem on the side to our left, which the cameras were looking at, they had obviously installed these big electronic advertising boards to get as much as they could, and that basically halved the distance of being able to run out onto the pitch. So every time Chris Richards didn't have a run up, basically, which is potentially why it could have contributed to his ridiculous foul throws at certain times. But yeah, so whether it was a deliberate tactic of them, I don't know. But yeah, they were cashing in on adverts didn't help our throws, put it that way.
Yeah, it's back to you, my lovey. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, go on then. Finish off the game.
Yeah. So then it was like really near the end when we actually had a free kick, and funnily we were all saying, "Oh, is it going to go over the stands? Is it going to, none of us thought it would go in, and so we were joking about it. I mean, it was a good free kick, it was a good goal, but it was too little, too late, really, for us, unfortunately. We did have a throw in quite near the end, which, if we could have got a long throw, maybe would have gone in the box, and but it was a foul throw, and that was just the way the day was going. Really, you could have predicted that would be the point. So yeah, then as soon as the final whistle went, well, they did try and run on the pitch a bit before the final whistle, and I think people told them, no, that's not that, you need to go. So they jumped back in, and then they were being told not to go on the pitch, but they did. I think it was just Hughesy came slightly near the away end, and Mark clapping us. But at that time, to be honest, I didn't want to clap him. I didn't want to abuse him, but I just thought, I'm going out of here. But obviously he did come over to the crowd and he did engage with them. And I think Paul was actually standing quite nearby at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I took that picture, and we were, as you say, as we decided, we just wanted to get out of there. And but I saw him coming up, and he was. To be fair to him, he was. The big pitch invasion meant not many of the players could come over to us. So, as we said, Hughes got to the edge of the box. The goalie was standing at the edge of the box, and then Mark managed to get through. And he was putting his hands up and trying to apologise and all this sort of stuff. So fair play. But then he suddenly decided someone obviously called him or whatever. He decided he was going to walk towards the crowd, and that's when I sort of stopped to see what was happening, because I remember Yoa doing this, Anderson doing it at Brighton a couple of seasons ago, and I don't think it's ever a wise idea, and I just wanted to see if anything silly happened. But Paddy came up and Dean came up around him, and he basically came right up to the crowd, and he was having a chat. Now, I've seen on social media and people have seen he was getting abused left, right and centre. Now, from what I saw, I'd say fair play for him for fronting up. It's probably not the wisest thing to do after a match like that. But he was having chats he was talking to people. It was quite heated talking, but it didn't look like there was no physicality about it. It was just respectful chat at this point. And obviously more and more people started to get down there, and I think it probably did get a bit more heated. And Paddy eventually ushered him away, and he didn't look too impressed. But again, he probably shouldn't after a performance like that. So I don't know if it's been a bit overblown, but it's fair play.
I think in all senses, but I think it has been. I mean, I have taken counsel this afternoon from 2 or 3 people that were as close as you were, Paul, and there were 1 or 2 individuals that called our captain, our club captain, our FA Cup winning club captain, the C word. Okay, if you were one of those twats that actually they're allowed to have a pop, of course. Okay, but to use that sort of language, A, in front of other kids, okay, but B, to our club captain, go to another football club, you sad, lonely bastards. Okay, Jel, you're first. Yaz, I'm coming straight to you.
So there's talk about the plastic pitch. So anyway, so Mark Callaghan said, the whole team were dreadful yesterday. They didn't fancy it. Too cold, plastic pitch, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I want to address the plastic pitch thing, because a couple of comments later, so Pilar 60 said, I played an AstroTurf years ago in a 5-a-side thing, Palace Sports Centre. I mean, that must have been a long time ago, because I remember that. That was a long, long time ago. Wore tracksuit bottom, still got friction burns. Okay, so they got a 4G pitch, right? And at our academy, our Group 1 academy, Grade 1 academy, whatever it is, we've got 2 3G pitches. There is a slight difference. 3G is more sort of like a grass effect, like a longer grass with a bit of a natural, I suppose you would get a slightly bigger bounce, but more of a natural bounce. And the 4G pitch has a slightly bigger bounce. But to use that as any kind of excuse when, that £25 million accademy that we've got, that our players train out, and would be cheap and disingenuous to Macclesfield.
So they didn't know, did they?
No. But the thing is, there are people that are mentioning the plastic pitch, Nick. Right. We have to put that to bed, right? Because that's completely irrelevant. Our players, they're professional footballers at the highest standard. You know, there are people that say the Premier League's the best in the world, and for quite a large part of the 19 or 20 games that have gone, apart from the last 3 weeks when we're plummeting down the Premier League, we've been up there. We've been playing really well, and this what seems like a slide in everything can't just be put down to players just being tired, playing too many games. It can't just be that. It's about mental attitude. It's about everything. And listen, I watched Craig Wanderers for a long time, and that team reminded me of Craig because we came up against better players. And Mark played for Craig Wanderers. He would know the coup about this, right? That the non-league side were always going to smash, put harder tackles in, run their bits off, and play it like it was their cup final. Well, it happens to be that it was their semi-final now because they've got another final coming up. So I'm not taking any excuses at all.
Yeah, and in fairness, the club, neither are they. Right, Yaz first, Paul second.
Yeah, so I just wanted to pick something out of the chat that Jonathan Cook said about how we were playing, and he called it Premier League tippy-tappy and saying we should have launched it up, which was one of the things that Paul said yesterday and we all agreed with right at the end, when clearly if we could have got another goal, we'd have gone to extra time, etc., etc. But even the goalkeeper stayed back, I don't know if he knows about Jimmy Glass, but, just go up there and have a go. It had to be worth it, didn't it, really? But there was just nothing yesterday, and I think the style in which we played was wrong against that opposition.
Paul?
Yeah, I've said many times on this show, the one thing that I have an issue with Palace and Gladys and all this stuff, there's no kitchen sink at the end of a game. There's no urgency. There's no bomb it, throw into the box, just non-stop, just trying to do anything differently and whatever. And as I say, I always like to know, sort of understand reasons of why things happen. And what really, I think, annoyed me, I mean, I was glad I did worry that they would blame the pitch, but luckily, as you said, no one has. But Matt Glasner said in his press conference before the game, he said, if we turn up with the right attitude and the right mentality, we will win. Simple as that. Any Premier League team should win against a 6th-tier team of painters, decorators, school teachers. Now, any 11 of that 25 or the squad we took up there should have been good enough to beat them. But whether they turned out and were complacent or just were expecting the game to be gifted to them, because as Yaz said, they were giving us all sorts of platitudes and compliments and everything. It was almost like they were rolling out the carpet for us, and perhaps the players thought they were going to do it on the pitch as well. But the performance, really, I've said it's unacceptable about shooting. We didn't have a shot on target in the first half. This is against a tier 6 team. We didn't create a chance. I think in the whole game we had one shot on target and one goal. So we had two attempts at a goal he had to do anything about, which made them scoring 2. We would only have got a draw anyway. Now, this, as we said, something must have been wrong with the mentality of that game. You can look at the squad and you can say, okay, we've got so many players out and he brought players on. Whether he should have started that way, we haven't got a midweek game, so there was no excuse not to perhaps go strong at the start. But yeah, we just didn't turn up, and it would be lovely to be a fly on the wall on the debrief for this game, because there was not one player on that pitch that could come off and say they did well. Now, we can come into the reasons for things like that afterwards and whatever, but we'll probably will come onto it. But whether there's some uncertainty around the club at this point, as I say, our players going to run through brick walls for captains who might not be there soon, or for managers who might not be there soon. But something was not right there the other day. And if they don't address it, as I say, we're playing Sunderland next week, a Premier League team. It's going to be ridiculous. So they need to all take collective responsibility. And I say it was good Mark did that to a degree, but it was a completely unacceptable performance at any level.
Thank you, mate. And we will be coming back to that in a minute. Jel, I presume you want to pick up on Monty's point in the chat, did you?
Well, there's a couple of things. So
got it.
Just want to go to Gear Trevor. He said a strange fact, as has been said, Palace were the last non-league side to beat a league team, Wolves, in the FA Cup. It wasn't. It was the FA Cup holders, and that was 117 years ago. Macclesfield are 117 places below Palace. And then Elio 04 said We didn't do well on the plastic pitch at Fredrikstad either. Coincidence? I think not. So yeah, I mean, it's like I say, I'm not going to. We can't use that. We can't use that as an excuse. I mean, just the pure skill and attitude and preparation. We should have seen that game out. It should have been hard for the first 30 minutes, first half maybe, but our fitness should have worn him down. They are not that fit. It's as simple as that. Premier League is the fittest league in the world. Not having it any other way. So hang on a sec, Paul. So and talking about Mark going to the fans, Georgia Wagwu said it was brave of Mark, and I did say this pre-show. I said it was brave, maybe a little silly, because he was literally he was on a hide into nothing. And then what was the point? I did see it come up. I can't remember it, Nick.
About refunding the fans.
Right. So my point was, I put a post on Facebook earlier asking people roughly how much it cost, how long it took, and how much they'd spent to go to that game. And I reckon, on average, if we just say that it was around about the 120 quid mark once you factored in 30 quid for a ticket, and then either train fare, car journeys, stuff like that. So I know Paul said he was into the 130, 140. 80 quid a ticket or 9 and plus 10 quid to get into London and stuff like that. So and then you had food and everything. So I was just trying to, and I got a bit of abuse off of a northerner, maybe because I don't go every week. I think that's why he was having a go at me, but he doesn't really know that I've been seriously ill for 2 years. But anyway, that's by the by. But my point was that I think that Palace should refund. I think there's a sort of anything between 1,350 and 15 or 1,600 fans went up there. I think that the club should refund those £30 tickets. I mean, that's the least they can do. And it was so bad that I think the players, I don't know if you can fine them. I don't know, but I think someone at the club, probably the players, should put their hands in their pockets and refund that ticket. If you can prove you've got tickets, you should be getting your money back. I literally I'm amazed. We can give away 200 grand to a non-league club, and I'm all for that. But your bread and butter is the people that follow you week in, week out, like Yaz and Paul and Ian, and even though Ian's off swanning around the other side of the world and missed arguably the worst display and the most famous game, apart from our cup final win, that he'll ever should have witnessed. But I think they should be giving their money back. And it's, I don't think it's an argument. I really don't. It's so abjectly bad all the way round. I think if you had to buy a ticket, you had to legitimately, and if you did, then I think you should get your money back.
Mr. Gear.
Yeah, I mean, just going on some of the things Jel's been reading out from the chats, and I've seen other things about some reasons why it happens, and people mention about the tiredness factor, and obviously I'll get players who've had a lot of games, but looking at their programme the other day, these non-league players, they played more games than us this season, Macclesfield. So in that respect, there's nothing to do with that either. So as I say, we are full of credit to Macclesfield. They were brilliant on the day. It was their cup final. As Jel said, it's not now. They got another one. But I think we didn't lose swinging. We didn't lose with their goalkeeper having a worldie, us having shots left, right, and centre, and everything. And they were holding out. And I think they beat us fair and square. They deserve to win. But we can't just say Macclesfield were brilliant, end of story, because that lets our guys off the hook. I think it's obviously a mixture of them playing above themselves, playing well, and us just not turning up. And as I say, that's not acceptable. And we need to understand why and what the club, the manager, and the players are going to do about it, and whether that's talking about transfer windows or changing tactics, as Oliver said.
We're coming on to it now, mate. We're coming on to it now.
I know Oliver said in one of his interviews, he said we're going to try some different things because what we were doing is not working anymore. So it'd be interesting to see all around where the club goes from here. We saw Steve Parish in the train station after the game, and he did not look a happy bunny.
Okay, Jel, quickly, and then on to Yaz, please.
Go on, Yaz. Go on, because you've been waiting. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was just going to talk about the refund question. That I'm a bit on two sides. Last night on the train home, I wanted everything refunded: my train, my time, this, that, and the other. But I didn't post on social media because I don't think it's the best time to post about stuff. obviously I did get a refund before. I think it's when we played Barnsley or something like that. Can you remember, Paul? From Simon Jordan. Yeah, we did get a refund. Now, I don't go expecting that. I don't even go expecting us to win, because although we've been doing better and I've probably become a bit more entitled than I was, I don't expect that. But what I do expect is for the players to turn up. You know, they were there in body, but nothing else. There was no pride, there was no passion, there was absolutely nothing. And so, although I don't expect a refund, I think when it's things like that, and I think the Barnsley one may have been similar, then I do think they should pay it, or pay it to charity or something, because it just wasn't good enough.
I'll make you right. Jelius.
Yeah, no, what Yasmin said. I mean, like quite literally, it wasn't good enough. It just wasn't good enough. No matter what way you look at it. See, this is the whole thing that I take out of this, and I've been watching the comments go through. People have been getting abuse off their friends, like friendly abuse, obviously. People have been piss taking and going on about it, right? But I seriously, I'm not even annoyed anymore about that, right? I'm just embarrassed. Now I love wearing my shirts. So I look at my house, and to the right, I've got Spurs 3 doors down, directly opposite me. Arsenal directly opposite. 3 doors up opposite, I've got Chelsea, and they're all. I've been out to be banterous with them. Now, my mate Simon stopped me yesterday morning, right? 7:30 yesterday morning. He went, and he's a Spurs fan, and he just went, I might be a Palace fan. He drove past me this afternoon, and he just went like that. Just drove past, like, what is going on? I am so embarrassed as a Palace fan. Whether I go or not, people can give me stick. I ain't interested about people giving me stick. Me and Nick have been doing these shows like this for nearly 15 years now. We go or not, but you literally, you're a supporter, whether you go or whether you don't, right? And I'm embarrassed. I ain't going to wear my shirt. I'm not even going to get it out the drawer this week.
Oh, you're on mute, Nick.
I'm going to give you an example of overkill. This is the biggest disgrace in our club's history, the worst result in our history. And talk about an overreaction. It came from me. Let me explain to you. As you look at the front of my house, I've got 2 spotlights, up and down spotlights on the front of my house. And since the cup final, one's been red and one's been blue. Okay, I changed them back to white bulbs today. Talk about overreaction, Paul.
Yeah, again, looking at the chat, as Jamie C has put about leadership, and something I mentioned to everyone at the game yesterday. It was quite surprising to see. There was, for Mark Gay, so we all love Mark Gay as a footballer, he's a great player, and also it's going to be a disaster. Shame when he leaves. But as a captain, yesterday, he should have been absolutely tearing that team up to bits and geeing him up. He was passive. I know it's his style or whatever. And it was the same with Glasner. As we said, in the first half, he tore strips off Devaney and he was having to go at other people. Second half, he basically, after the second goal, he was just sat on his bench. He was no geeing up, no anything. Now, he would argue he couldn't do any more in that he had no players left to bring on or whatever, and it just wasn't happening. But there was nobody on that pitch. As I say, Mark as the captain probably should have been the first, but there was no one on that pitch who was having a go at any other players or just telling them to shape up. I mean, sometimes you need someone like back in the day of Roy Keane or someone to just get into them and to force them to start playing better. And there was nothing. And it was just symptomatic of the whole team just accepting the poor performance, accepting that we're going to have the most humiliating result in our history, statistically and performance-wise. And it was just a shame to see. As you say, you'd like to think with 10 minutes left, there'd be kitchen sinks, they'd be all having a go at each other doing it. But it just seemed to be a shame that they just accepted.
Fizzled out to nothing, Paul, is what he did. Yeah. He just watching it on the telly. There's obviously other fans from other clubs watching. I see a couple of comments. There's something about Man City in there a minute ago. I couldn't really make head and tail of it because obviously
I don't know. I think he's a foreign fan. SPO 95. Let's read it out. Said, "How is your feelings after beating City in the FA Cup and then lose to a National League team like Macclesfield?" Well, SPO, yeah, we're all embarrassed about it. I mean, I'd rather lose in the third
Jel,
round.
can I
of the
jump
final.
in? Jel, I saw something. Did I tell you about this on the line earlier? Leave it on screen, Nigel. Leave it on screen. There was a tweet that went out this morning from a parody Man City account, okay, about those cheating bastards that won last year's FA Cup final with a goal that should never have stood. And then Gazbod, the those of you on Twitter will know Gazbod. He's a massive Palace fan. And because the Man City parody account was alleging that we cheated last year and everything else. And then Gazbod came back at him straight away and said, so I assume that 115 charges of cheating over the last 10 years no longer existed. Yeah. Go away. Right, Paul.
Here's my
yeah. I mean, as
blue lights as well.
as you say about how do you feel about it? I mean, everyone, people are saying, as Jel says, Spursy, whatever. People are saying it's very Palace to do this, to win the cup and do this. Now, I must admit, everyone when you use your dark sense of humour, you're like, oh, what if we lose to Macclesfield? I genuinely never thought this was possible. I just did not think this could happen and it shouldn't for a professional, as we said earlier, Premier League team to do it. Now, ultimately, that will never change. We won the FA Cup. It's in the cabinet. It's never going to change ever. It's the greatest day of our lives. But to literally to say, if someone had said to you, after we just won that, next year you're going to be humiliated, have the worst FA Cup result in history statistically, to be the worst defending FA Cup champions ever. I mean, you just wouldn't have believed it, and it's still taking a while to sink in, to be honest, because it's all day. I've been watching all of the football, and every time there's a break in play, it's going back to this thing yesterday. And as we've said, this is going to be probably, sadly for us, replayed a lot more on FA Cup programs than our win, and it's just the same that in 8 months we've sort of gone from having that as the FA Cup memory and Crystal Palace's association with the cup being the winners, and we're forevermore going to be recognised as this team that couldn't even beat Macclesfield. And it's the draw tomorrow. It's going to be interesting to see who they get, to be honest, and see if someone can get a big job than us. They deserve to, yeah.
Okay, right. Let's draw a line under that, because I pulled a couple of things out of the chat that I'm going to be talking about, and I'm going to hopefully involve you guys. Somebody said about, I don't know, 25 minutes ago in the chat, are we going down? Really? We're currently sitting on, what are we on, Paul? 28 points.
Yeah.
Safety normally is around 28, 30 points. 32 points you're safe. And you've got 3 pony clubs down there. I've seen the Man City boys come back with another. Mate, go and pay your club's bills, because, it's no point interacting with us. Are we going down? Of course we're not going down. And the other thing I'm going to point out to you, ladies and gentlemen, is, in case you don't know what today's date is, I believe it's Sunday the 11th, and Glasner had been making it clear since November that he would be sitting down with the board on the 15th of January. That's this Thursday. For those of you out there that are considering, let's hope Oliver Glasner signs a new contract, it ain't going to happen. Give your head a wobble. But Paul made a very good point to me on a private conversation this morning, is, well, if Mark's going to go, let's hope it goes this week, okay, and we get in some replacements, immediately. Huh? No, not that private. And the other thing is, let's get the ambiguity out the way for Glasner, one way or the other. Okay, let's get it settled. Let's get him telling us he's not renewing his contract and get him replaced. Paul, meat on the bones, please. Over to you.
Yeah, firstly, I didn't say I wanted Mark to go this week. Now, I said
you didn't say you wanted to go. You thought
no. Business. If we said all along at the start of this, and now a couple of weeks ago I was resigned to Oliver going. Then, as I say, in the last few weeks, I've got a slightly softened on that, on the basis that he rode back on a very critical interview he gave on the club. It was almost like he's building bridges and mending fences with the hierarchy. And then also, the one thing he's always wanted is early players. So for Crystal Palace to go and break their transfer record on day one of a transfer window suggested to me that the club at least thought they've got a chance of keeping him. So if they've got this chat this week, but as I said on the show before, they needed to go into this chat this week and say, right, here, Oliver, you wanted players, you've got 4 players. But that's not looking good at the minute, is it? So we've got 1. So unless we're going to borrow a couple of players in tomorrow, Tuesday, Wednesday for that meeting, he's going to go into that meeting and say, well, I asked for players, you give me 1. Why should I stay? So we know from the performance, they need to act very quickly. If they don't, it's, as I said to you, Nick, earlier, it is bordering on negligence and trying to almost push your manager away. So really, they've got to step up in the transfer window, get these players they say that he wants, and then you might have a chance of him staying. Now, the result yesterday has not exactly helped his stock, I imagine, as well. So that might not be persuading other clubs to jump in too quickly. But with the Mark Gay situation, and this is something I've said all along, it's a sad reality of football. Business-wise, we have to sell him. There's no way we can not really. If a club comes in with money for him now, you've got to take it, because it's one thing. The only way you would do that is if it's going to make more money to keep him than not. Now, the only way really that can happen is if we make the top four. Now, are we realistically going to make the top four? The Europa League and the Conference don't make that much money these days. So if someone comes in with 25 million, which I think is pushing it, then you've got to take it. But then you've got to spend it to replace him. So they need a defender in. And as I say, but this is what we said. Brick walls. Are these players running through brick walls for a manager they don't know is going to be there? Are they running through brick walls for a captain who might be leaving tomorrow? And the club need to get this sorted. They can't keep dragging it out. As I said, another example, Trent Alexander last year, Liverpool didn't know what was going on, didn't know if they've got to replace him, didn't know he's going to play. Same with Wilf when he left us. He didn't tell us. Mark's done a decent thing. He's told us he's not going to sign a contract. So it's up to us. We either cash in or lose big money and have to spend a lot of money on him. So, yeah, if a bid comes in, sadly, because we're not now going for big prizes that he would help us to get, and we're just sort of like floating by the look of it. And let's be honest, you don't need Mark Gay to win the conference. Hopefully, you just need a competent defender. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But if there's a meeting this Thursday to discuss Oliver's future, then we need to get him some players. Otherwise, it will be bye-bye.
I think I make you absolutely right. And I don't care where he goes. I don't care where Mark goes, as long as he's not Newcastle, because they were god-awful when we turned them down their £70 million offer last summer. And of course, I hope he doesn't go to that red light up in Merseyside, because they don't deserve anything apart from handcuffs. Jill, you had your hand up.
Yeah, so there is a couple of points if we can we're going talking about teams and players in and out and stuff. So I saw a fella on TikTok yesterday. I can't remember who it is. I should write this stuff down really. But he was saying about the amount of days that our players, that clubs have lost players for injury. And we're second behind Spurs. I can't remember, was it 600 or 800 days that we've lost through player injuries? I think we're up to 9 of the first team now, I think.
Yeah, I saw that as well, Joe. You're right.
So, but like actual players out and injury. So, and these are, the other thing as well, is no matter what way you look at it, apart from Kapora, really, they're all first team players. They literally, Kamada, we now know, is going to play no matter what. Munoz is going to play. Chetty Riyad, before he got injured, he was brought in and he was playing. He was, it was part of
For the benefit of the people listening back on the podcast on after the live show, the list reads Kamada, Munoz, Kapora, Riyad, Decore, Nketiah, Ismaili Sarr, who's obviously at AFCON, Jefferson Lerma, and Nathaniel Klein. That's what Joe is referring to. Carry on, mate.
Exactly, yeah. And then, so Michael Caudry, 4624, said, this is why I didn't get too excited about being fifth. I mean, we actually got to the dizzy heights of fourth in the quarters of the Carabao, etc. This stuff with a thin squad and that many games is always going to catch up with us. And everyone, most people deep down knew it really, Michael, so it's a fair point. And then Mark Smith says, Sarr, Daichi, Munoz, Lerma to come back, bring in another 2 players during the window, still in the Conference League, and we can achieve a top 8 finish in the Premier League. So we're going from a low to a low thinking, and then Mark comes in with think higher, think more positive. So I can get it. Mark Callaghan, as Timran said, Glasner's stock has reduced in the last few weeks. I think to the people that matter about where he goes, whether he stays or whether he goes, we know eventually he's going to go anyway. I mean, he will either leave for a fee or he'll get sacked. That's what happens he's never going to turn out to be the Arsenal manager or the long-term Liverpool managers that just turn around and go, all right, I've had enough, been here 15 years, 20 years or whatever, and just go. But I mean, you give Glasner a team of not just internationals like we've got, but top internationals, and he is going to turn him into a good side because, he'll do what he did with us, either do it my way or get out. And that's, you know, and he's very good at that. We know that he's very good at that. He's very ruthless. And I think we saw the nice guy at first. And then as the season's gone on, we've seen the nasty side of him, or the more determined side of him. See, the thing is, if we win, he wins. And no one wants to just go through just getting sacked. And, you know, he will want to go. So getting back to what you were saying earlier, Paul, just sorry, Jay, yes, it won't be a sec, is that I think he will sign the new contracts, maybe a 3-year or whatever, and because I think he's pretty good at Parish. He's pretty good at that. I think he'll stay for another year. He'll do this year. I think he'll do another. I think he'll do one more year, and then we'll get a big fee for him. I know you disagree, Nick, but I think that's the Palace way. You know, we should have sold, or you know, look, for all the world that we were going to sell. What's his name, to Chelsea, and then all of a sudden we see a picture of him.
One player, and we're talking about our manager here. Okay.
Yeah, so no, but a player or manager's completely relevant.
The same offer. Nobly Nuts was sitting where you're sitting 2 weeks ago, and I made him the same offer. Okay. If our manager signs a new contract, okay, with Crystal Palace Football Club, I will give you £50 to the charity of your choice. Okay. So the offer still stands. Mate, you're living in cloud cuckoo land. I'm so sorry, but I completely and utterly disagree with what you just said. Yes.
Get me out of trouble, yes.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I think everybody knows my view on football is a bit with my heart rather than my head. I don't want us to sell Mark in this window because I don't think we could get anyone that could possibly replace him. And I do think that even if when the players that we have out come back, we still need about between 3 and 5 more players, because just looking at yesterday, the people that we had in our second string are not good enough. Quite a few of them just not good enough. And then I saw, so I mean, the Macclesfield fans were singing "You're getting sacked" in the morning, and I thought, no way. And I'm standing there watching our worst game ever, although that game didn't hurt me like some others have. It didn't hurt me like when we got relegated at Charlton. Didn't hurt me like when we lost in the playoff final. But it goes down as the worst result. And there's
you make a good point, Yas. Do you know there was people on Twitter yesterday afternoon? You would have been travelling home yesterday, so you probably didn't see it, calling for the managers there. Palace fans calling for the managers there. Are they stupid? And by the way, Andrew Adams, I've seen your comment that if Glasner signs a new contract this week, Nick has to sit here and do a show in a full Brighton kit. Okay. That's how confident I am. That's how confident I am. Paul first, then Jel.
I was going to say, I saw Andrew's comment. I was going to challenge you now. I'm glad you've done that. You're a braver man than me, I tell you. Yeah, I mean, we were talking about something, me and Yaz yesterday.
I tell you what, in reverse, if I win, okay, if you win, I wear the Brighton kit. Okay, if I win, you wear your normal sequin off the shoulder suit that you normally wear on the weekend. Jel.
I've just seen where was it? So Eagles 1970 in the chat. I think this is to do with Glasner. I'm pretty sure it's either Glasner or Parish. I just scrolled up quickly to try and see. But anyway, he said we lost to a nightclub for mine. I drew with a Finnish fisherman and got spanked by Macclesfield. He has to go. He's now filling us up with crap signings. Now, if anyone's seen anything before, that's either Parish or Glasner.
Okay, and I'm really glad you've raised that one, Jel. Okay, because I'm going to stop you there. Okay, I do have a question for you. We're going to finish off the show in a few minutes' time. And for everybody that's joined us this evening, the actual live viewing numbers this evening are massive in comparison to the Monday nights that we've been doing recently. So welcome back, you lot, okay? And thank you for joining us. Bear in mind, you are joining us. Yeah. For those of you who are joining us again recently, I really appreciate you. Please make sure you share our YouTube channel. But I have a question. And now, for the regular viewers to this show, you'll know that I don't have the love for Dougie Freedman that you lot all have. Okay, you lot used to have, and everybody else, ever since the you know what event. Okay, tell me, I'm intrigued. I'm not a big fan of Dougie Freedman. However, the quality of our signings since Mr. Freedman has left us has not been as great as it was while he was with us. I grant you that. Okay, Are we missing Dougie, Paul?
No, not necessarily. No, I mean, when did he leave? 18 months ago, was it? I mean, I mean, all last year. It's as much about the players and the manager as anything. We achieved great things last season with the players that we've got. So the players we've brought in can do the job. We know that. They might not be as silky skilled as Michael Olise and Eberechi Eze, but they're one-off players. We don't get them very often, let's be honest, and not many teams do. So I don't think it was all Dougie Freedman. There's obviously a team of recruitment that does the stuff there. I think generally teams eventually just run out of players to buy. Southampton did it. Brighton do it. They've all had this model of, we sell our best players and replace them. You get to a point where you can't keep replacing them. And as I say, Glasner obviously he's got a bit more power, I think, as a manager than a lot of our recent managers, such as Roy, who just take anything he's been given. Glasner wants certain players for his system. So I think whether we're buying players that we're just not looking at that sort of silky skill player profile anymore and going for more functional for Oliver's team, that might be more to it. But yeah, I don't necessarily think we're missing Freedman at this point. You'd like to think the club has a decent recruitment network, to be honest, not just one man.
Thank you. Yes, your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think that is the big difference. Although we did hear about how Dougie tracked Adam Wharton, and how obviously committed he was to what he was doing. I think some of the signings, I've seen mention of a couple of them in the chat.
Sosa?
Yes. I didn't want to get on at him, because yesterday I think he may have taken a lot of stick. And I feel all players were just as bad. But yeah, some of them are just not good enough. I'm not even sure Uche is after yesterday's performance either. I mean, we called for him to come on, but yesterday he was on and he didn't do anything apart from be offside. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe I saw someone say that Brentford spend 3 million a year on their scouting. Maybe we need to do more of that. I don't know. But
both those players you mentioned, though, are both post Freeman, and that's why I'm asking the question. Jel, you had your hand up a minute ago, mate.
Okay, well, just to come into that, you've got to remember there's, every club in the world is looking for special players. Everyone's scouting everyone. But you would think that Glasner would be scouting from leagues that he knows really well, from the German, Austrian, Swiss leagues, that we can uncover a gem from there. Plus, he also, with the second season syndrome of everyone was saying, even I was saying that Kamada, he wasn't good, and then all of a sudden take him out of the team, and he's absolutely missed, massively. I just want to go back to just quickly in the chat. Keith Parker, this is a massively valid point. We're just going to go back to yesterday, but just this once, because I know we're moving it forward with other chat. But he said Glasner and Parish is not the problem for yesterday. It's purely the players and their commitment and mindset.
100% right.
That's what I'm saying. So let's get this out of let's take the Glasner and the Parish thing out of this completely. It's just. It is absolutely ridiculous.
It's never in doubt. I mean, it's a conversation Paul and I had this morning. It's nothing to do with the manager made his substitutions at half time and they didn't work. You can't blame the manager for that. You'd have been crying for his head had he not made those changes. Okay. I think Yaz has made the most valid point of the night. Sosa, Uche, are they Palace players? I don't think they are. One thing I will finish up with, and those of you who are starting to snipe a little bit at Brendan Johnson, mark my words, that guy is going to come good. That guy has pace. He can play anywhere along the front three, anywhere along the front three. So when Sarr comes back, he can move over the other side. If Pino's still struggling, he can play anywhere along the front three. That geezer, we haven't made him our record signing for no reason at all. He's going to be a quality player for us. Mark my words. Any of you three disagree with that? Paul?
No, I think he will be a very good player. He's got pace, he's got power, and he's adaptable. Just looking at a comment about Glasner having to motivate the players. I think most time, yes, of course, your manager's there to motivate the players, but in a game such as yesterday, he shouldn't have to. Those players should be on the pitch. Any of 11 of our players just on the pitch should be able to motivate themselves to win that game. So, yeah, run-of-the-mill season, getting things going, league games and whatever, yeah. But, yesterday against a team of no hopers, then yeah, you don't need a manager. You just need competent players playing with pride.
And a few players back from AFCON and the injury bench, of course, would also help as well a little bit. So our next fixtures, Nigel, please, if you'd be so kind. In 3, 2, I think he's obviously dozed off there. Maybe it's time for his
before he does that. Then can I just say that just quickly then, because they'll stay on the screen. Had Saar been playing yesterday, that would have been a different game. Just saying.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. So we know that we're away at Sunderland at the Stadium of Light next Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff. Then we're at home to Chelsea, which is live on Sky Sports on the Sunday, the 25th of January. Away, that's going to be spicy, isn't it? You can imagine the flack that the Palace fans are going to get there. Away at Forest on Sunday, the 1st of February, also on Sky Sports, 2 o'clock kickoff. Do you know what? This one's gone completely under the radar. Our away game down at that lot down on the south coast of the Amex Stadium. That's Sunday, the 8th of February, also 2 o'clock kickoff, also on Sky Sports. Then we have 2 TNT fixtures. Wednesday, the 11th of February at 7:30, home to Burnley, and then our first playoff leg in our from the next round of the Champions and the UEFA Conference. That's on Thursday, the 19th of February at 8 o'clock, but we don't know. We're yet to know. When's that draw being made, Paul? Is it this week sometime?
Friday.
Being made this week. So you lot are going to be making your way over there, no doubt. I hope you are. Girls and boys, I'm going to cut it off there. I didn't want this to be too negative tonight, and it hasn't been too negative. We're all hurting. We're all smarting. We're not Villa, and we're not Forest fans. We're not Brighton fans. Our next show, look, another 8 o'clock Sunday evening game for you. There you go, 18th of January. We will be back next Sunday, 8 o'clock. Yas, Paul, Jel, well done for keeping it positive, because it's just easy to absolutely bash the club, bash Parish, bash this, bash that. The players didn't turn up yesterday, top and bottom of it. You put a positive show on, and I'm grateful to you, all three of you. Ladies and gentlemen, out in Facebook land and YouTube land, there's loads of you out there this evening. On behalf of myself, Nick Philpott, and his illustrious team that was with me, have a safe week. We'll be back next Sunday. We'll see you then. Good night, everybody, and up the Palace.
Good night, everyone. Well done, Macclesfield.
Yep.
Well done, Macclesfield.